All right, welcome back. Another new episode of the Danny Beal Show. A little bit of a different studio here. I'm in the middle of Mississippi playing some baseball this week, so not in Pirate Radio Studios, but still a great interview nonetheless. We had Coach Jason Dietrich on. He was the pitching coach at East Carolina when I was a freshman in 2020 and 2021. But dude, it was so good to catch up with him. His sarcastic charm still hasn't left him. He's still one of the best coaches I've ever had in terms of pitching and knowledge and all that good stuff. But kind of talking through his playing journey and his crazy coaching journey, working all the way up from high school to where he is now as the head coach at Cal State Fullerton, but reliving some memories of him at East Carolina as well as his coaching philosophies and all that good stuff. But cool conversation. Hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah, let's do it. All right, welcome back. Another episode of the Danny Beal Show. We have another very, very special guest, one of the many pitching coaches I've had, but one of my favorites, one of the most smart-ass coaches I think I've ever had, but also one of the most intelligent I've ever had. He is Jason Dietrich. Dietz, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
What's up, Danny? How's it going? I don't know. I think sarcasm's a better word. A little sarcastic, but I don't know. I'm just kidding you. But it's the straight face, right? It's the straight face. You don't know if I'm being serious or not. I've mastered that throughout the years, and just to keep guys on edge, but have fun with them at the same time.
Yeah, that's where he gets you every time. It's like you don't know if he's screwing with you or not. That's why it's hard to keep up with him. But how have you been? How's the West Coast? Obviously, you're coaching Cal State Fullerton right now, and the season's over. The College World Series just happened. But how's it been out there?
It's crazy. 4 years have come and gone a lot faster than I thought, and it's been interesting ride, so to speak. There's been a couple decent years and a couple tough years. So as you see the college baseball landscape changing in many different directions, we're working hard to adjust the best we can. And like I said, time comes and goes a lot faster than you think. We always preach that, but like I said, excited for the following next year, but just seeing how things are going. Just got to make sure we're adapting the best we can and moving forward and kind of just plugging away.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll get into that stuff later about how you've adapted, because when I was with you, this transfer portal and NIL stuff didn't exist. So I'm kind of interested to get your take on it and what do you think and how you've at least tried to adapt to it. It's not easy for everybody, especially in the older coaches who have been kind of set in their ways and know how to do things the right way as opposed to the way they're doing things now. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, let's start from the beginning, because we were talking pre-show about how interesting your story is, and I think it'll be a cool experience just because people haven't, at least the East Carolina community hasn't gotten a chance to hear from you in a few years. I mean, we saw you last year when you played us, but since 2021, you haven't been a Pirate. So I think starting from the beginning, like, where did you grow up? What was baseball always your thing? What was kind of your background leading up to your playing days when you were older and stuff like that?
Well, I was born in Stuttgart, Germany. I was only there for 2 years. My dad was stationed out there in the Army. And then we grew up in Garden Grove, California, which is one of the many cities in Orange County, California. Grew up loving baseball. My dad was a big baseball guy. I had an older brother and a younger brother. They both liked baseball. So we always played in the backyard and neighbors and all that stuff that unfortunately you don't see a lot more kids in California doing nowadays, playing out in the street, in backyards and what have you. But I kind of just was always loved baseball, and just played, like I said, Little League, went to high school, tried out there. Like I said, I was a little smaller guy, not tall now, but I'm 5'11", but back then I was still pretty small. So trying to make the team is always tough. But I made it, and it's just kind of one of those things. I just love the game, so I'd always work hard. That was, some of the things my parents instilled in us as kids is just all you can control is how hard you work and how much effort you give. And so that was kind of it. And like I said, I had a chance to play high school. And I played 1 year of varsity baseball because we were pretty good. So we had a lot of guys ahead of us that
Wow.
played. So it's part of life and you deal with it. And I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, hey, I just want to play. And then I hurt my arm my senior year at the back end. But I only had 2 community colleges that were talking to me. And I chose this one just because of the head coach, just the way he represented himself and how he presented everything. I went there, hurt my arm. I had surgery, it was like a couple months later, and then I was out for a whole year with the Tommy John. And back then, it was probably like 12 years. Tommy John was kind of into its kind of phases.
Yeah.
Of, it wasn't happening as much as it is. So I had Tommy John surgery and rehabbed and didn't pitch my redshirt freshman year because my arm was still trying to come back. Then my sophomore year, it kind of all clicked. I was at the point where do I keep on playing because you're just mentally exhausting yourself trying to be physically ready, and the ups and downs of a surgery. You're just like, dude, do I keep on going? Do I keep going? I just said, you're not going to quit. You're going to keep fighting. And then one outing just felt good in the early sophomore year, and I'm like, wow, feels good. And then before I know it, just got some confidence, and then had a really good sophomore year. I got drafted by the Yankees. I chose to go to Pepperdine University because they won the national championship a couple years before that, and then played there. Got drafted out of there again by the Rockies. Decided to sign, and then gave my pro career about 4 years with the Rockies, and 1 year with the independent ball, New Jersey Jackals, and then I hurt my arm again. I go, yeah, I know, Jackals. It was great. That was the inaugural year, man. The first year they ever had it. Had a chance to meet Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
That was where that was at. So it was a lot of great things that, I played with Pete Rose Jr. And some other guys, and that Jack, a former Titan that was here named DC Olson. So yeah, I had a chance to meet some good people, as you know, when you start playing and crossing paths with a lot of people. That's kind of just how great it is. Why baseball is so beautiful. So then I played baseball, and then got hurt, decided to go, I got to go back to school. And then went to my undergrad. I went to Cal State Fullerton to get my undergrad, and I was figuring out what I wanted to do. And I got my master's, and I started coaching from a buddy of mine that asked me to be his pitching coach in high school. And that was about 27 years ago. I started coaching. So yeah, crazy. Look at me now, still trying to figure things out and wondering what that's going on.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because we were talking again pre-show about the Jackals. So for people that don't know, the Jackals is an independent league team that's actually in the league that I'm in right now. And Jake Kuchmaner, who you got to coach and was one of my old teammates, played for them this past summer, and then I've gotten to play them a couple of times at Hinchcliffe in Patterson, which is crazy because it's an old stadium it's literally on a football field, and they turn it into a baseball field every some guys. And they've got Yogi Berra's number retired, Pete Rose Jr. number retired. It's crazy. It's a cool stadium, but I saw that you played for them. And I was like, what are the odds? That's crazy. But
yeah, and that was we played at Montclair State. We played at Montclair State. That's where it was at. That's where we played. So I'm not sure. It sounds like it's a different stadium. But yeah, we played without. Geez, thanks, Danny. That's 1998. So that's 27 years ago, buddy. So
you're
older
old.
than you. Born.
Yeah, literally. When you got the chance to play after Pepperdine with the Rockies, it was 4 years, like you said, and you gave your shot at that pro ball kind of era for you. What was pro ball like? I mean, was it an enjoyable experience? You gave it 4 years, like you said. What was that experience like for you?
It was great. The crazy thing is just how many things would come kind of full circle for me, if that makes sense. Meeting the guys I met that were so many different guys throughout the United States and Latin America, the friendships that I've had with those guys, I still have good friendships with all those guys I played with. Again, you're meeting people from so many different areas and upbringings. That was a unique part, and it was fun. It was fun just to go play a game with a bunch of guys that were from everywhere. And then, like I said, you form your relationships with those guys, and I've been blessed to go to a lot of guys' weddings that I've played with, and continue to keep those relationships. That's why I think baseball is beautiful, is the relationships that you got to build from it. And so, you give it your all, and yeah, we all knew it was a business back then too, because everyone's wanting to progress forward and get big leagues. And so but you weren't hoping that someone did bad, and your buddies. You just wanted to compete and get out there and
Yeah.
control what you could. And uh, for me, that was just going out there and, like I said, as long as I was healthy, I was seemed like I was always hurt. And luckily, Rockies kept on giving me opportunities. And some years, a couple of times I did pretty well. I just couldn't stay healthy. And there comes a crossing point that everyone has in their career where, like, hey, well, what direction are you going to go and give one more shot, or are you going to start a new chapter in life? And I got to the point where I was like, I've given my all. I'm tired of injuries. I've had 3 surgeries. I need to figure out what my next stage of my life is going to be. And that's when I was 25 years old. And I said, I got to go back to school. And I told myself, my family, to get
And
my
yeah.
degree. So.
And when you got your degree, was it always something that when you kind of finished school up, you're like, I know I want to get into coaching? Was that always something that you had in the back of your head, like, I want to stay around the game? Or was it just something like, all right, now what do I do?
Yeah, I went back to school and I got my major is criminal justice. You can imagine that, right?
Yeah.
My
Right.
other
No,
brother,
no, it's not like you.
yeah, my older brother's a sheriff, and so it intrigued me a little bit. I thought maybe DEA or postal investigation. I was intrigued by all that stuff. I really liked it. And I was kind of just finishing up, and then a buddy just called me and goes, "Hey, man, I'm getting a head job at a high school. Do you want to coach and maybe get a master's?" And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let me just try that. Let me try to see if get a master's degree, because I played at a community college, and I started thinking, well, you know what? I really respect one of my mentors, who was the head coach and taught at a community college. I'm like, yeah, I can get my master's degree, and maybe I'll go that direction and kind of see what this is like. And as you can imagine, it's working a million jobs. I coaching high school doesn't pay the bills, so I had a valet park. I had to substitute teach, to give lessons. I did
No
whatever I
way.
could just to make ends meet, because at the end of the day, coaching's in the afternoon, and there's not too many jobs where you can just get away from and go, hey, I'm going to go coach from 1 to 4:35 and then go back to your job. So that's why I worked at a hotel, like I said, at Valley Park for numerous years, man, until like I was in my early 30s, just to get extra money and pay the bills. And so at the end of the day, you do what you got to do to survive. And that's what I did, because I love the game and I wanted to kind of see what direction it would take me. And like I said, I can go down my coaching career, but that's when I started, and I started getting a feel for it, and I really liked it. And I was like, okay, I can see myself, I got to get my master's in 2 years. So I did 2 years of high school coaching, and then I can go down that road later. But yeah, it's just, I started getting a little feel for it. I really enjoyed being around the guys and helping young men. And I still thought, you're 26, so I was still running with them and dominating them. And I thought I can still pitch off the mound and do everything. But those years are way behind me now.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe it's time, it might be time to hang the cleats up. But I mean, like you said, you had a lot of stops. Like, you, in every sense of the phrase, you literally worked your way up the food chain. I mean, you went from high school to LA Community College, Irvine Valley, Cal State, LA, like UC Irvine, and then you finally made your way back to Cal State. But I feel like as you kind of trekked up, was it kind of, it's almost like enjoying the ride? I feel like, because you can kind of tell you're working your way up. You're working your way up. You get your shot at UC Irvine, and then you're one of the best pitching coaches in the country. What was I guess the journey like as you kind of trekked up the hill and got to the point where you're coaching high level D1 baseball?
It's a tough one, to be honest with you. It was tough. It was because the reality is, as I kind of went to a community college, LA City, that's where you can help yourself a little financially. You have to teach classes, and so, but still, it's California, and paying the bills. So you got to sacrifice the financial means to know, like, hey, what's my ultimate goal? My ultimate goal is to continuously. I told myself I'd like to get to Division I baseball, but if I can get a head coaching junior college job, that might be something I can do, because the retirement and that, and the pension and all that for a JCU job in California is one of the better jobs that people shoot for. But they're hard to get, because some people get in there and they hunker down in there for 25, 30 years, if not
Yeah.
longer. And so I just kind of was grinding through it. And the crazy thing is, like, I coached at LA City College for 1 year, and then I went to Irvine Valley College. But then I met my now wife, who's from Virginia. So there was a crossroads of, hey, I'll move back there and try to find a coaching job, or do you want to come out here and try to see if we can make our relationships go to the next level, or what have you? And she decided, I'm just working right now at a Old Navy, and I can pick up and go out there and we can
You
see if
won.
this we
You
can
won
make.
the battle. Attaboy.
Oh gosh, yeah, but to her credit, all the sacrifices that she's made, and it's been awesome. But it's been tough too, to be honest with you, throughout the journey of the coaching world, the moving around, the great things that have happened, the tough things that have happened. So to get back to the coaching piece, it's uh, yeah, it was to get to UC Irvine is like you're just working hard to get an opportunity, and I didn't worry about what people thought. I just go, let me just work hard no matter where I'm at. And I knew how tough it is to get an opportunity to try to be a pitching coach at Division One. So when after I left Cal State LA, I went to UC Irvine as director of baseball operations. As an it just opened. They created a new position, and he didn't need a pitching coach. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to get my foot in the door. And I'm
Yeah.
glad I did that. To be honest, it really taught me how to run a program. You learn every in and out of a program, every little thing that has to be done. So I did that for 3 years, and then the pitching coach that was there, he moved on to another opportunity, and luckily Mike Gillespie, who was the head coach at Aurora at that time, offered me the position because I'd be around that pitching coach all the time and working with them and doing the best I could help them. And so, like I said, I got lucky, and from there, kind of did my. You're not trying to move, to be honest with you, and it's not about job hopping or anything. You're just looking at the growth because you have family, and we're trying to figure out what's best. And like I said, throughout my journey, through the ups and downs, I've been blessed to work for, was it 4 guys that were really good people in regards to the journey of coaching Division One baseball with Mike Gillespie, George Hord, and Rick Vanderhook, and obviously Cliff Godwin. So all 4 of those guys were different in their own ways, but they all taught me numerous things that's helped me to be where I'm at today, but also helped my journey in life.
Yeah, and I was going to be one of my questions later too. Is what have you been able to take from each of those guys? Because it's kind of like a Mount Rushmore of coaches in terms of guys that you've been able to learn from and take stuff from, and go from school to school and take stuff from them, and then eventually, like you said, you're the head coach now, so you kind of get to run your own show. But when you were at Irvine, you won a regional, you played LSU and lost at the box, and then you ended up moving
Mhm.
to Cal State, where you essentially created a wagon, but going from having that experience in those postseason games, and then essentially, I mean, you don't have to say it, I'll say it, you pretty much ran the West Coast there for a few years at Cal State. I mean, regionals every year, really really good players. You went to Omaha. Like, when you were at Irvine and then moving to Cal State, what was the experience like to be able to really hit the ground running when you got to Cal State?
Irvine was great. It was tough because Mike Gillespie, when someone gives you an opportunity, like I said, I never wanted to leave, but Fullerton was always a dream place of mine. I grew up going to the program. My dad and brothers, we'd always go watch games there. We just loved going to games, the way they played. We'd always pay attention to how they did. We listened to them on the radio. We did a lot of things. And so it was tough because Mike Gillespie gave me an opportunity and we did well at Irvine. And then when Fullerton popped up, I'm like, I have to, this is something that, I've always wanted to wear the pinstripe. So went over there, and as you can imagine, you're recruiting guys, and you leave those recruits, and it's not fun because you're investing in them, and they're believing in you, and they're going there. Maybe you're a small piece of that puzzle of why they want to go there, and then you're leaving to go to, in essence, it's kind of crosstown rivalry school. And so
Yeah.
tough conversation with all the players, but at the end of the day, I always want to make it front and honest with them. And then we went to Fullerton, and I was blessed to inherit a lot of good players. There's some guys I did recruit that were there that didn't, obviously went to Fullerton instead of Irvine. But I just Fullerton has always been, they've kept that torch going at a high level of just, just being so good for so long. I mean, I replaced Kirk Sarlos, who is the head coach at TCU. So he was the pitching coach before I got to Fullerton, and I mean, he's a great guy, an unbelievable coach, an unbelievable person too. So and Rick Vanderhook, I think he was on his second year as the head coach there, but he was a previous assistant there, and so he knew what it took to. And they had a kind of a grip hold of all the recruits. To be honest with you, there's so much talent that wanted to, but they worked so hard to build it up, and so guys are always wanting to go from the state of California to Fullerton because of the excellence that the school had for so many years. And then we were blessed to kind of keep that going for the 4 years I was there, and yeah, it was, we were getting a lot of good players to come, a lot of good pitching and a lot of good players. And yeah, it was a good 4-year run with 4 regionals, 2 super regionals, a trip to Omaha. So that was the fun part, and we had tons of All-Americans. I mean, my first year in
Oh yeah.
2013, gosh, we had, I think our third baseman was Matt Chapman. Our left
Hmm.
fielder was J.D. Davis, another big leaguer. Our center fielder was
Oh yeah.
Michael Lorenzen, who closed. Then we had a guy, catcher was Chad Wallach, who's been up and down the big leagues. We got our two freshman
Hmm.
starters were Thomas Eshelman, who pitched some big leagues, and then Justin Garza, who's pitched in the big leagues. He's currently up with the Mets right now. So as you can tell, and there's other guys that were really good, but it was really deep. It's the best team I've probably coached that we lost in supers. Outside of probably what was it, 21 when we were at Vanderbilt. That's
Yeah.
probably like it was
That team was
that
unreal.
13 and that team, the two best, like probably like player wise. I was like, geez, they're just so many good players. But unfortunately, both lost in the supers for both those teams. But it's just, it is what it is because you got to get hot and play good baseball at the right time. But yeah, that's how Fullerton. It was a great 4 years. Then I wanted to kind of challenge myself and go. George Horton, who was a previous coach at Fullerton for a long time, was at University of Oregon. I always respected him, and I wanted to go up to Oregon and challenge myself and learn from him. And so that's kind of how from Irvine to Fullerton, and then we had some grinding years. But I was blessed to be around again a lot of good players: David Peterson, Ryan Nelson.
Oh
There's a
yeah.
couple pitchers that come to mind that were there, and then obviously there's other guys that Spencer Steer, Johnny DeLuca. I mean, there's a lot of guys that just have done well to, not just the big leaguers, but a lot of good players there too. And we just, it's different. It's a tough place, but the resources are there and the support system's there. And when you have a couple tough years in this industry, some people feel a change is needed, and so you go through that too as a person. So it's kind of a blessing, to be honest with you. Blessing.
Yeah.
It hurt so much at that time, but by moving on, it allowed myself to throw my name in the hat at East Carolina, and I'm so thankful that Cliff Godwin gave me the opportunity to go back there and be a part of a special program. 2 years wasn't enough, but it was enough to know that we love East Carolina and the people that are there.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on, and being able to backtrack a little bit and being able to beat Louisville to go to Omaha, like you said, coaching all these guys, Michael Lorenzen, Chapman, Davis. You even coached Connor Siebold too, David Peterson, Spencer Steer, all these guys. Even when you were at Oregon too, what was it like to be? And you can even include Gavin and Wiz in that conversation too. Now, what was it like to be around greatness, pretty much? I mean, being able to coach these guys. And I remember when I was a freshman that fall of 2020, we hopped on a Zoom with Michael Lorenzen actually that you set up. We got to talk to him for a while and pick his brain a little bit, and he obviously said, how great you were and all that good stuff. But being able to be around those guys and be around guys that know what it takes and be at such a high level, what was it like being able to coach those guys?
It's not just those guys; it's all the guys. There's some guys, but when you get to be around some of the guys that are pretty special, you just kind of take. I like to take a seat and watch a lot, and then see how are they going about their business, what separates them, what do they do, and then you just kind of take those little tidbits of information and you use it yourself to try to pass it on to other guys. Of when I've been around some great players, it wasn't all of a sudden that they turned on the light switch, they were good. It was they had to put a lot of work in. Yeah, we saw there's a special talent, some arm strength, or the body or whatever, or certain pitches, but it was just the maturity that the guys showed. And you challenge them too. They had to challenge themselves, but you got to challenge them as a coach and to watch their daily work. That's why you preach it a lot. The intent and the focus of everything they do, from playing catch to their arm care to their bullpen sessions. Just how diligent they are, and they're taking care of their bodies. How they get to know themselves. So you get to see kind of how they go about their business, and then that's where you kind of just keep on, like I said, utilizing that to help other future players you get to coach. Of just saying, I've been blessed, and these are some things I've seen. Doesn't mean it's got to be the same for you, but you have to observe at a high level and pay attention, and they have to be able to take your sarcasm too, Danny, as you know.
This could not be more accurate. It's part of the Deets charm, I think, is being able to take it for what it's worth, but understand that it's all in good interest and all in good fun.
I
But
want to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the fine folks over at Curtis Construction. Today's episode is brought to you by Curtis Construction. It is proudly celebrating 65 years of excellence. Since 1960, Curtis Construction has been dedicated to servicing commercial roofs with quality, integrity, and unbeatable service. From replacements and restorations to repairs, inspections, and emergency services, they've got you covered, literally. Whether you need a trusted roofing partner or want to learn more about the trade, visit curtiscc.com or give them a call at 252-523-1078. That's curtiscc.com or give them a call at 252-523-1078. Shout out to Kelly Casey and her team for supporting the show. They're huge supporters of ECU baseball as well, and I appreciate you guys, and thank you for sponsoring the show. Go Pirates. This episode is also brought to you by Crush Vodka, the official vodka of the ECU Pirates. Crush Vodka is made right here in downtown Greenville. It is 7 times distilled and twice filtered over coconut shell carbon. Crush Vodka is also gluten-free and sugar-free. You can find bottles of regular vodka, orange, vanilla, cherry, grapefruit, in ABC stores throughout Pitt County, and it is also coming soon to all ABC stores in the state. 100% of the profits from their regular Crush Vodka is donated to Team Boneyard to support ECU Athletics. That is the entire ECU Athletic Department. That's football, baseball, all that good stuff. Thank you to Brett Oliveria for his support of the show. Crush and Sup Dogs has been great for the community, and we appreciate your guys' support of the show and ECU Athletics. Go Pirates. This episode is also brought to you by Randy and Mary Ellen Cole. They are two people that bleed purple and gold and love ECU Athletics and supporting their athletes. I truly appreciate you guys supporting the show and for being a big part of what ECU Athletics and ECU Baseball has going forward in terms of NIL, fan support, and, of course, being at every game. If you get a chance to see Mary Ellen and Randy out in the community, be sure to give them a big shout-out for supporting the show and, of course, supporting ECU Athletics. Thank you guys so much.
being able to coach these guys, and you mentioned it prior, but making that kind of trek to the East Coast for the first time in your career, you went to the East Coast to coach baseball for the first time. And like you said, with Coach G being able to give you that opportunity, what was, I guess, the decision like for your family, for you, coming over to a program that maybe you knew some of, but not, I'm assuming, a ton of, just because you'd always been a West Coast California guy. But what was that season like coming off of a super regional loss?
It was I mean, it's crazy how it all kind of unfolded. To be honest with you, I mean, there's a lot more to the story, but I knew about East Carolina because I got to know UCLA has an assistant named Bryant Ward.
Yep.
He's played at East, so I got to really know him well because he's coached in California for so long that him and I would be at a lot of the same events, and we always enjoyed talking to each other about everything, life. You get to meet some good guys in this industry, and he's a great guy. I'm so pumped and proud of like what they did this last year at UCLA by going to Omaha. I know how hard that guy works, and so I respect everything that he does. And he's just a good person, just a great guy. And so that's kind of like I started learning. And I was East Carolina. You knew from afar that they were just a good hard-nosed program, and I felt like, oh, this is similar to Cal State Fullerton of the East Coast, is because it's just the hard-nosed blue collar business. Technically, yes, what are you, a major? Okay, great. But they played the game right and did things right there. And so from afar, you always knew about them. And I watched a lot of their games too, to be honest with you, as I was just kind of going through, I was watching, I think you guys was regional, I think in Louisville, done, and just kind of, so I think Agnos was pitching, and that was Jake, that is. And I was like, just watching happy players. I'm like, let's just compete. They got some good players too, and it was just weird how you see something like, oh, East Carolina's looking for a pitching coach, because in the baseball world that's out there, and Kendall Rogers knows everything. So yeah. I reached out to Bryant Ward and just said, hey man, I don't know what I go. The only time I've crossed paths with Cliff Godwin is the last games that were ever played at Alex Block Stadium when I was at UC Irvine, and that's the only time I knew of him. And I go, can you reach out and see what he's looking for? And I'd love for you to maybe call my behalf.
Yeah.
And so he did. Him and Cliff were really close, and to give him at least more insight to who I was as a person, because Cliff didn't know me at all. And so that was a good opportunity, and that I'm thankful that Bryant stuck his neck out for me. And then talked to Cliff, and then Cliff goes, "I'd like to fly you and your wife out for an interview," and he was interviewing candidates. And I go to my wife, because my wife's from Virginia. It's a 4-hour drive. And so she goes, "Well, hey, if we get this thing, this would be awesome. Get to come back."
Yeah, she was probably like, "Let's go."
Yeah. I mean, it was all on board. And, we got there. And the crazy thing is, like, I forgot to backtrack a little bit, is that having played professional baseball, I played in Asheville, North Carolina. I've kind of gone through the whole state, played at Kinston. I really enjoyed North Carolina. And I told my wife that, I'm like, God, North Carolina was awesome. I loved being out there. I love the cities that I had a chance to go play at and kind of, check out. So that was one of the states I really liked. And it was just one of those things. It was just good people. I enjoyed it. And so that's what I was like, that's the whole full circle of life in baseball, right? I'm like, gosh, this would be a great opportunity. And so went and interviewed, and I thought it was well. And I remember, gosh, who were the guys that were in there? I remember I talked to, I want to say it's Cooch and Bridges. I forget. There's some, I forget who else is in there. I think it's Schmitty, maybe.
Cam Colmore,
I can't remember.
Cam Colmore, maybe.
I can't remember some of the players in there, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm getting the third degree here, yeah. And I didn't know I can't. I got to be myself, but it was good. It was good to kind of hear from them and talk to a lot of people. Coach Godwin did a really good job of kind of just making sure I was talking to a lot of people, and I think they wanted to get a feel for me. And so, like I said, the interview process I thought was really great, and getting to talk to Coach Palumbo, that was awesome, and just getting to know who he was. And like I said, it came down to I think it went really well, I thought, and then I was blessed. After the end of the day, because it was a whole day, Coach brought me his office and started breaking stuff down, and he just goes, "Hey man, I got a good feeling about this. I'm gonna offer you the job." And I was like, first of all, you're floored. You're just excited beyond belief. I'm like, well, I need to go talk to my wife, but I can't speak for her. But yeah, let's connect tomorrow morning, and we'll be back in your office and going over everything. Goes okay, and we just wanted both to tell him thank you, and we're all on board, and we're so appreciative of the opportunities presenting myself and my family. So, and from there, like I said, it's crazy how time comes and goes. It's been 6 years now. But we still have a house. We still have our house in Winterville. We still go there. My wife and daughter are there right now. I still keep in great contact with the whole coaching staff. Those guys are awesome. Love them. So it's crazy. And I love Greenville, to be honest with you. I love being out there. The people are great. Some passionate people, but just good people in general. It's a good place.
You mentioned, it's funny you say that, because you mentioned your family earlier, and you mentioned that you guys still have the house. Your wife and daughter are still there. Dean's obviously there all the time. You try to make it as often as you can with all the baseball stuff you have going on. But what was it like, I guess, not raising, but for at least a couple of years, having a family in such a baseball-centric city, baseball-centric town? You guys grew to love it, and we grew to love you guys. I mean, you were certainly a part of the family pretty quickly. But on the family side of it, when you do make the move and you guys do move there for 2+ years, what was it like living there and kind of getting used to the culture as opposed to where you were previously?
It was honestly, it was an easy transition. We were blessed to find my wife and her best friend, the house that we found. They were just from a former ECU player, Sully, I forgot his first name, is a realtor through Cliff. He just goes, "Hey, here's some options," and that was one of the options. And my wife's like, "This is the house. It's perfect." And so the neighborhood's been awesome. It's crazy because like my wife is like best friends with there's like 3 girls that are and their families in the neighborhood, and so she talks to them all the time. And it was an easy transition. Like I said, California, there's so much going on. There's a lot of things, and then when you're in a college town, it's just a little more simpler. We're a simple family. We're simple people, and we really like the simple life, so to speak. And so we weren't looking to do anything, to be honest with you. We were on that good trajectory of just like, hey, we can be here as long as Coach Godwin want us here. And when the Cal State Fullerton head coaching job opened up, I felt I wanted to put my name in the hat. My wife understood that just because of, having coached here. And I was at the point like, I'm getting old enough. Head coaching job's not everything in my life. It was when I was younger. I just felt like, I just want to be happy. I want my family to be happy. And but at the end of the day, we all knew that if I didn't put my name in the hat, we didn't want to know what may or may not have happened. And so
Sure.
that was another tough decision. And as you can imagine, being a coach's wife and a family, it's tough. It's tough because when you have life, you're not trying to uproot and cause some kind of chaos. You're always looking at how can we help our family, and there's a lot of tough things a lot of great things, but also some tough emotional things that happen throughout the time. And so I picked a profession that I didn't know was going to be kind of this much of a little roller coaster, so to speak. But thank God my wife has been strong, very strong, and she's an unbelievable woman, very independent, but also, great mother. And so my kids are great. I'm just thankful. It's just you want to pour all your heart and soul into. It's crazy. It's our kids and then the kids you get to coach too. So it's
Mm-hmm.
the extension of the families that you've been part of. It's been great, and for a lot of people and some players, unfortunately, maybe not liked how I coached or what have you, but hopefully for the better portion of them, they appreciated what I was striving to do.
Yes, we did. Don't sell yourself short. But it's funny that you bring up your wife because I've had BG on, I had AK on in the fall, and they've said the same thing with the way that, I mean, obviously BG's crazy movement with going to the Dodgers and then his trek all even before ECU and then going to the Dodgers, coming back, and the sacrifices that Emily has had to make. And then obviously with AK too, going from, his entire crazy journey of law tech to here. And even before that too, with all the stuff that Taylor's been have to do. And all of them having kids as well. And it's funny that it seems every coach that I talk to has the same sentiment about how selfless their wife is and all the sacrifices that they make for you and the family. So it's cool to hear that, she's no different, which is special to hear. But you get to 20.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, for sure. You get to 2020, COVID happens, shortened year, weird year, Burley leaves, a couple guys end up coming back like Matt and Cam and Smitty and Cooch and those guys, and you get to 2021. Luckily, you only have 3 new pitchers, so you only had to deal with me, Josh, and Landon, so that made it a little bit easier on you. You had a pretty old group, but how easy?
The Three
I wouldn't
Stooges.
say easy.
I had the three.
Yeah.
I had the three.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There you go.
no, you guys were awesome, and you three were awesome. I still keep in contact, obviously, with you guys. And yeah. So yeah, no, I just being sarcastic. Yeah. Come on, man. Three Stooges, right? Yeah, I had to go there.
Yeah, exactly. It was coming sooner rather than later, but I figured having only 3 freshman idiots to deal with and having a relatively older team, how easy and how cool was it that year? I mean, like we talked about earlier, you had so much talent with Smitty and Cam and Matt, and then obviously the horses that were Gavin and Wiz. What was it like that year, being able to kind of really focus in on us as the rest of the group kind of did what they had to do, whether it was me, you, or Cooch, or those guys?
Well, I felt I was lucky when you have older guys that can lead the charge, which Coach Godwin does a great job of creating that, instilling that culture. Older guys, kind of empowering them to stick to the standards and carry those standards, because that's what's important. Player-led teams are the best teams. And so when you have those older guys, it's easier for a coach kind of step back. Like, you got to keep them in check, and they still got to get to know you, as a person, and then believe in what you're doing and what you're believing in. And so at the end of the day, it's about respect, right? I'm wanting the guys to respect everything and respect the game and treat them with respect and challenge them. But, when you do have older guys, it can make it a tick easier for a coach, because then you don't have to worry about nonstop. The younger guys get a little swirly. They do. They need to grow up, mature a little bit, but they just, but older guys, to keep them in check, it's a little easier that you don't have to do it all the time, that the older guys can do it and keep them, focused in on the task at hand and doing things right, and what you believe that are right, and, all that stuff. So, yeah, I was very lucky, like you said, and it was, to be honest with you, it was great just how, for 2 years, all the guys kind of accepted me. It's easy for me. I think the lot of smack talking was awesome, because they can talk crap about me being fast, and then I can kind of, talk crap about them and, who they are, because it's just fun. It's just fun to have that little banter, because it was just fun to be around. But I commend and thank all the guys for being so open-minded, and for just, kind of welcoming me in. And it was awesome, because, like I said, they're just great young men, and it was you don't know how it's going to be, because I'm just gonna be myself, and hopefully at the end of the day they know who I am and they respect it, and That's what I want them is be themselves. And like I said, there's so many great young men I still keep in contact from East Carolina because, Coach Godwin, Coach Palumbo, even Coach Roselle did a good job identifying good guys and to bring in the program.
I think that was what was cool is you and Coach Roselle were so different, and to still be able to respond the same way and take what you were giving us. And it was certainly different coaching in terms of the way that you approached it, but it was not one was not better than the other or whatever it may be. But I think it was cool to get to experience your style of coaching and the way you kind of went about, bullpens and early work and PFP stuff. It was certainly different, which I think was cool just because I mean, certainly me personally, I had never been able to like kind of relate to that. And then the more you get used to your style, it was cool to be able to pick your brain about stuff like that and get down to it. But as the season goes along, how fast did you realize Gavin was special? Because I mean, culminating with Kumar versus Gavin in Nashville was pretty special.
It was. I think when the first year I was there, you saw the talent that Gavin had. I think you were just trying to go and talk to the coaches, and Coach Godwin would be like, how can you get that guy just to do a tick more? And it's not saying he didn't want to. It's just a challenge him. I think by not getting drafted in that 5-round draft, something clicked for Gavin between the years, where he just goes, no, I need to make some changes. And you just saw him kind of just change his work ethic, so to speak, of like, no, I'm going to start doing things at a higher level, from his, just conditioning to weight training to everything, his arm care. Then you start seeing it come about and you're like, ooh, wow, and then just, you can see him turn that corner a little bit. And then the kind of, how do we figure out how to get him a good spin pitch? And it was randomly, just weird funky stuff. And Lawson helping him with the cutter. It's just That's where I tell you guys, like, all can help each other and do things. And if we can find things that give you kind of the buffet line of experimenting, maybe you'll find something. Then to Gavin's credit, start putting in the work of, understanding the importance of why commanding, not just throwing hard, but he had an arm, but he started moving that thing around where he wanted. I'm like, you guys are having a tough time hitting you, man. Like, it's going to be, you can start commanding that thing. And he started calming things down. He started, like I said, cleaning some things up. And I think it's just a credit to him and his work of wanting to just become better and having that chip on his shoulder of why he didn't get drafted the year before pushed him. And then when it came game day, it was fun. I've been around a lot of good ones, and he's one of the good ones. Just watching the game day, you just go get out of his way and let him go have fun. And that's just a certain presence, it's a certain look. And so it makes you look smart as a coach, because when they go out and dominate, I go, I'm not that. I'm just a guy that I get a front row seat to specialness. When I have a front row seat, I'm pretty blessed because it's on the field, and to see all the great pitchers that I've had a chance to be around, you're like, yeah, I'm not sitting in the stands. I got to be on the field to see this. This is pretty sweet. So, it was great to see all that work you put in pay off. Yeah. And I thought he outpitched Rocker. I did. So at the end of the day, to see him show his talent at the highest level on national TV, I'm like, yeah, people need to see how really good this guy is. And the Guardians did a great job of picking him because he's shown that, and he keeps working. I just saw him last week. I went up in San Francisco, took my son up there.
No way.
Watch
nice.
The Guardians. I went there, so I texted him, hey, I'm going to be up there because my son's never seen that park. And Matt Chapman with the Giants is there, and then Tanner Bybee, who was a former Fullerton, and then Gavin. So I'm like, oh, let's go see 3 of the guys. Let's go see them and hang out and talk to them. And so, we got a chance to go talk to him both days and break it down with them. And I saw him when he was in Anaheim opening the season here. So I keep in contact with Gav a good amount, and he's a good man. I'm very proud of all the stuff he's done, and continues some, keep pushing positive vibes and good things his way.
Yeah, like you said, you do a really good job being able to keep in touch. You always check in with me, and I'm sure you check in with Landon and Josh and even all the older guys that are out of baseball too, just trying to be nice. I mean, I remember when you FaceTimed us when you were at Matt's wedding too, and it's just like it's always a fast train. You always got to keep up with it. It's funny.
I want to take another quick break from the show to tell you about our friends over at Young's Physical Therapy and Sports Performance. Young's Physical Therapy and Sports Performance is the only clinic in Greenville that you should be going to for your PT and training needs. They specialize in physical therapy for athletes and the active population. Their PTs are sport-specific and know how to treat any injury. They also have private, semi-private, and team training for workout classes or conditioning. Private, semi-private, and team training. And they are all highly trained professionals who collaborate and utilize a team approach in an elite 9,300 square foot facility. That's 9,300. It's a big shop. Thank you to Kevin and Jennifer Youngs for supporting the show and being the official physical therapy provider for ECU Athletics. They are amazing in the community. Hearing Kevin's testimony on the show a few months ago was tremendous, and it shows that they are good, God-loving people that are here for you guys to work together to make you stronger. Shout out to you guys for supporting the show, and we appreciate you. This episode is also brought to you by Caroline Cook Homes. Caroline is committed to helping you find your dream home, selling your property for the best possible price, and providing top-notch real estate services in Morehead City, Atlantic Beach, Greenville, and Winterville. She is dedicated to providing personalized attention and expert guidance to meet all of your real estate needs. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer or an experienced investor, Caroline is here to help you navigate the complex and ever-changing real estate market. She prides herself on local knowledge, professionalism, and commitment to exceeding your expectations. Explore her website at CarolineCookHomes.com. That's CarolineCookHomes.com to learn more about the services Caroline provides and the properties she has to offer. Contact her today to start your real estate journey at CarolineCookHomes.com. That's CarolineCookHomes.com, or you can reach her at ccookrealtor@yahoo.com. That's ccookrealtor@yahoo.com, or at 252-341-1992. That's 252-341-1992. Thank you, Caroline, for supporting the show.
That summer you end up going back to Cal State Florida to take on the head coaching job, and having this be your first real time as a D1 baseball, or at least D1 head baseball coach. What has been the experience being a head coach as opposed to being a pitching coach in the past for as long as you did it for?
There's a lot. I knew it. I knew going into that, but it's like anything in life, right? You don't know until you get in that seat. You know the things that need to be done. It's just learning how to stay organized and making sure I'm covering every basis. A lot of things I learned from George Horton and Cliff Godwin. Those two were very detailed on what they did. So I kind of had to get my system going of being structured and prioritize things and making sure I'm not just talking to the pitchers, but also delegating to my assistants, but being with the position players, from just being on the field. But then just, internal stuff, from your donors to the fundraising piece to just keeping on daily task for your field or anything in where you're at to, recruiting, to name every facet the organization needs to be done. You got to make sure you're on top of it and making sure it's going in the right direction. If not, you got to take a step back, hop on way. So it's a bunch of communication. It's nonstop communicating with your staff members and kind of spelling everything out. Then we have turnover with your staff, possibly. It's just, it's ongoing. It's just never a dull moment. And then you got, other things off the field and academic stuff. And there's so many things that you just got to make sure you're paying attention to, and then you delegate it to all your assistants to help you. And you got to find extra help. And so it's been a lot because in order to do things right, like I watched Cliff do it, and I'm like, how does he do all this? And I started recognizing, and then I'd be him at times going, hey man, because I told you, Deets. I'm like, I know, I'm running around with my head cut off, but then we have great conversations about, great conversations about asking questions about how do I handle this? How do I do this? And he was always good. And he's not the only, I talked to him, but also George Horton and other guys that have helped me. So I always reach out to ask for questions because Cliff said something to me. He goes, Deets, watch, your phone won't be it'll be active, but it won't be as active as when you're assistant, when you're talking to everybody, because everyone doesn't want to bother you, so to speak, because they think you're busy all the time. So it was true. I'm like, dang, I used to talk to tons of people, but I'm getting different calls and different texts from people now. It's just because they're like, no, I don't want to bother you. And everyone says, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to bother you. And I'm like, no, it's not bothering me. And I get it, but it was a little different to kind of handle all that. But it's been a great learning process, to be honest with you. I've learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about the things I can get better at, always wanting to get better, the grind of just, running a program. And like I said, we're seeing college baseball, which is a beautiful thing, and the popularity nowadays. But I'm still, you still worry about the mid-majors and kind of what's going on. And right now, unfortunately, you're seeing a lot of mid-major players leave because of, I guess,
money.
What do you call it? Financial growth or opportunity?
Yeah.
So it's just the when you don't have those resources, it's not because the school doesn't want to. It's just you're working hard to do it, to try to create your own ways when other people have other resources to do it. It's become a little tougher. And so when you see the Coastal Carolinas, Murray State, and other programs fighting to do it, to get there, it's fun to see because you know how hard that road could be to get there. Not saying it's easier because you have the money and what have you, but I mean, the SEC has won it the last, 6 or 7 years.
6, yeah.
You know, and so you're seeing a conference kind of dominate college baseball. And yeah, I know they have good resources, and we're not trying to. We never will. It's just you're recognizing, well, how do we maintain and go in the direction we want to go at a high level? There's always the question you're asking yourself and talking to your admins about to keep moving forward and putting your best product out there.
Yeah, and I think we have the same. I don't necessarily want to call it an issue, but it's certainly a dialogue to be had about just how do you keep up with the Joneses kind of thing. And I don't know how much in the weeds you are with it on the West Coast, with the title that you have as head coach in terms of recruiting and stuff. But you kind of already answered it, but how hard has it been to adapt to kind of the NIL aspect and the recruiting side of East Coast versus West Coast? Hey, all these guys are leaving the majors to go get money in the SEC. Like, how do you kind of handle that, and if handle it at all?
Well, yeah, it's changing, and so you're doing your best to work with your alumni, your people, your athletic director, your sports administrators, of coming up with the best game plan. It's just like I said, every school is different. Every school has their own kind of obstacles, so to speak, and when you're working hard to try to get that situated, it takes a little longer because the resources are not there, and it's not for lack of wanting to happen. It's just you may not have the manpower to continuously move forward with certain areas, and so it's just continuously educating yourselves and the people, especially alum around you, especially this program. This program wasn't built on people having a ton of money or what have you. It was just about, Coach Augie Rio did a great job of just getting, people know the truth, just getting people that wanted to compete, and they didn't have a lot. Like I said, they've won 4 national championships there, but 3 of them, their locker room was the parking lot. So they would just go change in the parking lot, change in there, go on and go practice, go home. They'd change again and go in their cars and leave. So that's why a lot of them having a tough time understanding it, not in a negative way. It's like, yeah, it's not about stuff. It isn't. It's just, the resources and the backing that a lot of schools are putting into their school. We have a beautiful new facility. We got a new scoreboard. We just got a new a locker room. So our people are working hard to continuously give us the best resources. It's just you need more help, and that's just the way it works. Is from your alumni base and from more donors to help understand that this is the day and age where we're at. We didn't create these rules right now, right? These are the rules that are in place of the NIL, and to keep good players, we're going to need more help and more backing, and that's part of a little bit of the hill that we're climbing right now. And so it's just continuously doing our best to move forward and put our best effort to see if we can continuously get good players and keep good players.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. It's a challenge unless you're in the Southeast Conference. It's just the way it goes. It sucks, but that's the way it is, and it's the life of college athletics that we're having to live now. But you've a couple more questions, and we know you're on a time crunch. I'm so grateful for the time you've given us, but I got to give AK props because you've mentioned coaches in the past that have helped you along, and you still keep in touch with them and stuff. And I think, at least from what AK's told me, these last couple of years, especially, just because last year I was the only player or pitcher, at least, that was with him before he was the pitching coach, and kind of like keeping him in check and kind of humbling him a little bit, just like, hey, like I knew you when you were the assistant, buddy. So kind of that thing. But I know how much and how highly he speaks of you and how you were such a great mentor to him. How has, from an outsider's perspective, at least, how have you seen him kind of develop and been able to kind of become the pitching coach that he is today, kind of under your tutelage?
Hey, maybe the only tutelage I gave him is how to become a better sarcastic person than me. Because
he's learned.
That guy's he's funny as heck, man. He's sharp. He's witty. And the day, it's like when he was there, I even knew it, and I'm like, this guy's gonna be really good. He was so helpful in so many different things, just being there for me and helping me. When you have another person, it's kind of like another set of eyes. It's huge. They can give you a different look, a different opinion on something, and so he was always working on things and looking at things differently, and it helped me. It helped me learn some areas that I can have growth in, and we have great talks and conversations, and that's what I'm very lucky for today. We talk a good amount. I mean, I'm firing off texts or giving him a call, and I'm proud of to see where he's at, because he's worked so hard, and I knew he's going to be good at what he does, and he is good at what he does, and I know he takes a lot of pride in it. He cares. He cares. He wants good things to happen. I know he can be demanding, but he does it for the right place, because he wants everyone to be the best versions of themselves. So, and I know he invests a lot of time in so many things, man. The modern technology, learning that stuff, building relationships, challenging players, how to get them better. And he's smart as heck too. I mean, that guy he's got a great baseball IQ. And like I said, he's kind of, he may be younger, but he's kind of an old soul for me, because he has a good presence of what he does, and pays attention to the game. He reads the game a little different, and it's good to see that. And like I said, he's a great not just a good coach. He's a great man. He's fun to be around. I love spending time with him when I can, because as you know, we have so much time on our hands as coaches. So, no, I'm just kidding. Whenever I go back, we do our best to connect, and I know everyone's schedule is different, and we always try to at least see each other whenever I'm back in town. Try to see all of them, Palumbo, Godwin, and AK. But AK has done a great job, and he's continuously going to do a great job, because I know how hard he works.
Yeah, it is so cool, because as I was saying, when I was the only pitcher left from your last year, it was cool to see how obviously your guys' interaction, from how you treated him and kind of raised him to be the sarcastic guy that he is today, but also the fact that when he took your job and then we hired Heath Blackman, who took his job, he treated him the exact same way that you treated him, like held him accountable, made sure he was working hard, but also knew how to have a good time and like joke with him and like bust his balls a little bit kind of thing, which was cool to see, because seeing it from you to him, and then him to Heath for the last 3 years was cool to see. And obviously Heath just took the App State pitching job, which is special for him too, which is very, very cool, and deservedly so, because he was one of the hardest working coaches I've ever been around. But no, it was cool to see the way and how far AK's come in terms of pitch calling, recruiting, being able to relate to guys just like you did, and it's cool to see how you guys are still keeping in touch.
Yeah, that's awesome. It means, like I told you, it's going back to what we started earlier. It's about baseball and relationships, man. It's I told AK that. I always say that random, like, gosh, who would have thought 6 years ago I'd run across a guy from Mississippi, and he'd be talking to a guy from California. Be like, what the hell? Something's wrong here. But that's how lucky.
Yeah.
That's how lucky baseball. That's why baseball is beautiful. Is the paths and the people you get to meet along the way, and that's why. I've been very blessed for this game to introduce me to so many great people in life, and you're one of them too, Danny. So I know you miss my sarcasm, but I'm only a phone call and a text away from giving it to you.
Miss it more than you know, trust me.
I want to take a quick break from the show again and tell you about the fine folks over at Tiebreakers. Tiebreakers is open every day at 11 a.m. and is the best place to watch your favorite sports while enjoying the best wings in town. They also offer sandwiches, appetizers, the best cold beer, and more. Follow Tiebreakers on Facebook and Instagram for daily updates. Tiebreakers is in Greenville at Bell's Fork on Greenville Boulevard and in downtown Winterville on Railroad Street. Thank you, Bram and Tracy Anderson, for supporting the show. Tiebreakers has always been a spot a lot of the guys, when I played, would go hang out, eat at. The service was always great. The food was always top-notch, and there were always really good sports on. Shout out to you guys for being supporters of the local and ECU athletics. And, of course, thanks for supporting the show. Appreciate you guys. This episode is also brought to you by Brandon Manning, my guy B-Man. From his days as a Pitt Community College Bulldog to his years at ECU, Brandon Manning bleeds purple and gold in anything local sports. Born and raised in Pitt County and your local Farm Bureau insurance agent in Winterville, Brandon can set you up with auto, home, life, and health insurance. You can call him at 252-531-1010 1812. That is 252-531-1812. One more time, 252-531-1812. Thank you, Brandon, for supporting the show and being an avid ECU baseball supporter. Your fandom does not go unnoticed, and we are glad that you are a Pirate and are so grateful for everything you've done in the community, helping the kids learn how to play the game the right way, among numerous other things. Shout out to Brandon Manning for supporting the show. You're the man. Thanks, B-Man.
All right, couple quick hits. First thing that comes to your mind, and we'll get you out of here. What is the coolest game that you've ever been a part of, off the top of your head? That could be from playing, coaching at ECU, not at ECU. You tell me.
Oh gosh, now you're
On the spot.
honestly probably the Louisville game 3 at Louisville. The grind of that game, just the drama in that game. We were the team that was told that we had never beat Louisville because they had so much talent. And that game 3, we had a freshman, Connor Seabold, pitching, did an unbelievable job. Guy nicked the foul pole, and then we had to bring in Thomas Eshelman, who started to close the game, and we had a freshman behind the plate who threw out the guy to end the game to go to Omaha. That was probably the best, just how it played out and extra innings and hostile environment. To me, that was probably the game that just really stands out the most.
There you go. Who is the favorite player? Who is your favorite player that you've ever coached?
You can't ask that.
I know. I just want to see if you'd answer.
Yeah, that's there's players. It's all the players I had a chance to coach because everyone's unique in their own way. No player, to be honest with you, stands out because there's so many great players that I've had a chance to I still keep in contact with a lot of guys. And the one thing I guess I would say that's been awesome is how blessed and thankful I am to have been asked to be to go to a lot of weddings, and that means a lot to me because that means they've affected my life, and hopefully I've affected their life a little bit. But I can't. One player. It's not one player. It's just a lot of players that I've been blessed to get to know.
All right, last one. This doesn't necessarily even have to be a game. This could be like a moment where you're screwing around with the coaches, screwing around with the players. What is the favorite, if you had pick a moment or a story you love to tell from your time at ECU, whether it's a game, like I said, or a moment or a practice, is there one that you can recall off the top of your head where it's oh yeah, my time at ECU, this was funny or this was cool that happened? I know, I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. It's happened 3 times. I'm not that bad.
No, honestly, there's really never a moment. It's just honestly the moments I spent with you guys, the pitchers, and talking crap to you guys. It's just you guys start getting to know.
Of course it was.
Start getting to know your personalities, and you guys are I keep you on edge, and then they knew when to jab back. The older guys were really good at Colmore, I think Schmitty and Bridge. You were always the best at kind of reading me pretty good, and then flipping it back to me, and then I would kind of keep you guys back. So it was just the moments of interacting of I think you guys didn't know when I was serious to when I was being serious. It's just the fun of doing that, and then kind of taking that, talking crap to all the position players too. So I'd love to pick and choose my battles, but I always wanted to have fun with the guys, but be doing a different style. Even Seth Goodell would be in, even Norby, Burley. I still talk so much crap to those guys. We're going to cut you up. You guys have no chance. It's just the interactions you get, and you get the guys all mad at you, and Ryder Giles and Agnos and those guys. It was just a bunch of, like you said, shit talking that that was what I enjoyed because there's a lot of it going on, and it was so much fun to just to see it. So it wasn't the moment; it was just the moments of doing that all the time. I'm sweet, I love this. This is because you get the competitive juices flowing. You get guys kind of staring you down, having some fun with it. You're good. We need to have this. We need to have this, and that's the stuff that you kind of you're staying loose, but you're also trying in the same token to see if they can handle it.
That's right. You're spot on, and it was always the short time that I was with you. It was always a blast going to the field, even though I knew I was probably going to get my ass chewed for something. At least I had fun while doing it.
Yeah. Well, here's one thing, Danny, I probably just came to mind that really enjoyed was the blanket. The implementation of the blanket.
Oh my God!
The implementation of the blanket. Dragging the blanket, right? My little one-liner.
Oh my! For people that didn't know, and honestly, it happened for probably 2 to 3 years after you left too. AK kept it in his office and gave it to people. He gave it to me multiple times. So for people that didn't know, this was Dietz's daughter's blanket that he brought to the field, and anytime that somebody would pitch poorly and feel sorry for themselves or have bad body language or, come in the dugout, throw stuff, act kind of like, what was me kind of thing. The next morning when you showed up for your lift or you're running, your conditioning and stuff, there would be a pink blanket with a pet like stuffed unicorn wrapped around it. And he's like, well, you want to feel sorry for yourself and act like a little girl, then hey, here's your present. And you had to carry it around for the rest of the week until your next outing. And it was, again, as people have heard, it's the same thing where Dietrich, hey, just little jabs. You always found a way to get in, and it would drive guys nuts sometimes because they're like, dude, I didn't deserve this, which plays into it even more.
Yeah, because you're right. Because guys are like, hell no, I didn't deserve this. Exactly. And then you knew that, okay, this is now you're pushing the buttons, and hey, man, people nowadays probably take that so offensive, and they'll probably want me fired now because I put a blanket in the player's locker because I'm like, stop dragging your blanket out there because I was trying to prove a point. And unfortunately, there's too many sensitive people in this world nowadays when all you're trying to do is have some fun, challenge a guy, but some people take that too personal. So I've not implemented a blanket here. Unfortunately, I do say certain things that, challenge, but yeah, there's one moment for you, Danny, that I do, that the blanket was something that it was pretty classic. And it was just a AK and I talking about it one day, and we're like, let's get this done. And so we got to mess with the guys and start up something. And I'm glad it turned into kind of a no one wanted it, obviously. And the guys that had it, they just talk crap.
Every time. And it's like you said, it's funny that it even lasted after you left too. I mean, for a good 2 or 3 years, it was like, hey, the blanket, the legend's still going to live on. That's awesome.
Unbelievable.
Well, Dietz, I appreciate the time. It was awesome to catch up with you. Got to get you out of here, but we appreciate the time and coming on and reliving some fun memories and telling some stories and being able to catch up and see what you've been up to.
I appreciate you doing it, Danny. It's always good to see you, my man. Like I said, I think about you all the time. Think about a lot of the guys. I'm proud of the things that you're doing. Just life's going to be crazy, right? We always tell you your career comes and goes like that. Just relish it, give it your all, and that's all you can control. And make sure you appreciate everything that you're doing, which I know you are. And I know all the hard work you're doing with these podcasts and everything else. You do a great job. And, I'm fired up for everything that you're doing. And hopefully I'll see you soon. If not, like I said, I'll be back there in fall, and we need to connect and hang out.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. I love you, Coach. It was good to catch up, and hopefully we'll talk soon, but hopefully I'll see you soon too.
You got it, my man.
All right. See you, Coach. All right. That was Jason Dietrich. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, some really cool stories, especially at the end, talking about the little blanket story that he implemented in his time when I was there. But no, it was cool to chat with him and catch up, relive some memories about his time at ECU and his journey through the baseball world, talking about his family a little bit and the NIL world there for a little bit. But really hope you guys enjoyed a good episode, even if it was, cross country over the phone. It's always good to catch up with one of the most knowledgeable guys in terms of pitching and baseball in the sport. So hope you guys enjoyed. There will be a couple new episodes out later this month. But yeah, really good episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you next time.